Hello everybody, welcome to the sound test room. Today we're taking a look at frames from Imaginando, the marvelous granular synthesizer that can do so much cool stuff. So this is going to be a tutorial on how you can use frames to create your own samples, patches, etc., stuff like that, you know. So that was one I made called Guitars from Mars. This is another one I made earlier today called FM Oboe. So I'm playing just one note. No vocal sample in that Guitars from Mars. So the breakdown of that particular track, that particular patch was this. So this is the sample, and you'll see that on layer number 2 here is the same sample, and then on layer number 3 there is a, if we solo this, nothing there because it's on the grain engine. So it's only using 2 of the engines. Now Frames has 4 engines, okay, so each engine is the same. So each engine can program completely differently, but it's like trying to imagine it as 4 synthesizers in one that you can do whatever you like with. Now I'm going to get into the details of this very shortly and explain what you can do and how it works and how the interface works. You can record your own samples in, you can import your own samples as long as they're maximum of 4 meg. That's absolutely fine. You've got plenty of scope there to work with, and you can then do all sorts of cool stuff. What is also cool about frames is it uses FM synthesis as well. If you want to, you can, like for instance this FM Oboe here, this is having the sample frequency modulated by another. So you'll see here that if I solo this, there's nothing in this engine, and there's also nothing in this engine, and it's set on the granular engine, but this one is set on the oscillator engine, but there's nothing there unless I turn up the level of that. But you'll also see that I have an FM amount here, and you'll see that although there's no sound here in the oscillator engine, if I go back to this, I don't know what I've done now. I don't know why I've lost my sound. Oh, have I soloed this? Yeah, so you take that off. Oh, no, I haven't. Have I soloed that one? Active on, solo, no. Here we go. So if I look at the FM for this one, so I'm going to go through all this in some detail. From scratch, so from a completely blank patch, and I'll take you through the whole thing and explain how it all works and everything, so that you should get a good idea of how it functions. Right, okay, so let me have a drink. First of all, we go up to here, go to factory, and the first thing we want to do is go all the way to the top and choose default. Default is a completely blank patch, okay, so nothing there at all. Now you will see I'm going to change the size here. You'll see that these 2 little lines here aren't doing anything. Well, I'm going to change the sign to relative, but there's nothing in there, so you're not going to hear anything or see anything going on. There's no samples in here. So where it says layer, you have 4 layers, okay. Each layer will change at the same time, you see, and this just basically means that this layer is the waveform view, and underneath is the control view for that particular waveform that you're going to put in there, that we're going to put in there in a sec, okay. And then you have the envelope section here for this, and then the matrix section, then the modifiers, and then the global section, which affects everything. So if we go back to waveform, you'll see they're both the same. So it's a good way you've got like the waveform there and the control here, or maybe you want the control here and the envelope there. That's fine, you can do that as well. You can also uncouple these, but I'll get into that in a sec as well. So you can have layer 2 on the top and layer 1 on the bottom, and however you want to change this around and suit yourself. So hang on. Radio. So first, what we're going to do is we're going to import a wave. Now we can record in. So I'm just going to explain this a sec, right? If I go to this section, if I press waveform, this is the input section, and you can see it's picking up my voice through the interface. And if I play the keyboard like this, 1 2 1 2 1 2, you'll hear it. You'll hear it coming through the engine, right? This 1/8, 1/4, 1. This is 1/8 of a second sampling, 1/4 of a second one, and this is like 1 second. 1 2 1 2 seconds, and then we can actually just freeze this, and now we can play it. And then we can go back to the waveform, and let's just so if you're on this, you can save this as a patch, obviously, and that's your sound. We'll go back to waveform. We're going to import a waveform, okay? So we tap this little button here, like that, and then we can choose from any of our recordings that we might have made or imported sounds that I've imported. So these are sounds like this one, for instance, and we can play it. So if I turn that on, that was that oboe sound. That's a vinyl sound, more vinyl noise. That is just a vocal sound. So for instance, if you wanted to import that, you could just, what you just do is you hit load, and it loads that sample into that slot. However, we're going to import. Now you have to remember that your sounds, if we go over here to audio share, and we'll find some sounds from, say, I know we could do some one shots, or we could do some stuff from Memory Collection 13 from Daniel. So if we choose this, for instance, and we go, okay, well, let's choose music, and make sure that it's under 6 meg would be no good. It's too big a file. Let's choose this one here. This, I don't know what it's going to sound like. Just let's load it in, and there it is there, and we can tap on it and say, let's find where it was. Okay, we can import this, right? So
where you going?
So I'm just gonna hit import. Oops, no, I'm not. I'm gonna hit load, and that's loaded that sample into layer A. And it'll default to putting a sample at C4. So if you've got samples in C, this is where you'll be able to play them back at the same speed. Now you'll see, because of the density, it'll start to repeat the notes. The more density, the more grains the more pulses it's gonna fire off for the grain length that you have selected. Okay, and then you can choose the size here and the offset. So we'll put the offset, say, there, and we'll reduce the size to there. We can turn the level down here. Or if it was really quiet, you can increase the grain here. But let's put the size back. And then there's different types of sizes. So this is relative. This is absolute. And then sync. And then relative. Okay, we have a cut up. We'll go on for this engine, but for the top part here, this button here. So we've looked at how to import. This button here is record a sample in. Okay, so you can record direct. So I could go into another engine and record my voice in. This one is actually delete the sample. Well, it's not actually what it is. Well, it is. It's delete the sample. It just deletes the sample from that slot. This next one is copy. So I'm going to copy this now and go to my next layer and just paste. And now we have the same sample in both layers. If I solo it, I'm going to make the window bigger. So the window means that, try and imagine it like a fade in and a fade out is probably the easiest way to visualize how the window works. So remember, this is solo, so listen, it'll fade in a little bit. We'll make it fade in a lot. And then it'll fade out. But if we have the window wide open, it'll play immediately, depending on where your offset is started. You can also switch start on. And once it reaches your offset and your density and size level, it will stay there. So you could put the start maybe here. And now it will take over this from here. This bin button here, right, well, it's not, that is a bin, I keep getting this wrong, but this button here, and I'll show you, you can make a selection in any of the waveforms you like. So you could say select, see this highlight as soon as I make a selection? If I make a selection here like this, right, and then I hit the crop button, yes, there is that selection, and that selection now fills in the whole thing. So let's turn start off and let's use the offset. Pan for the layer. And if I go back to 1 now, you'll see that I'll just unsolo this now. So same waveform in both slots for this. We'll go to number 2. Now we've got a layering of both those samples. Turn the level down to this one, which is a really fast grain size. Now we also have stereo spread here, but you can also tune. If I just solo this now, double tap to reset. You have coarse tuning here, octave. This here is you've got your filter, and this is envelope generator 2, which is like the filter cutoff. But that's when we get into the envelope here. This is opening and closing the filter now. We go back to control. You'll hear it more. And also in the envelope section, the first envelope here is your like volume envelope. And you can go exponential, logarithmic, or anywhere in between. And that's for each of the actual envelope settings, the attack, decay, sustain, and the release. You've got control over the curve. And you also have alternate mode where you can have the maximum. You know, you can control the time it takes. So you have a lot of control over the envelopes, which is really good. So we'll look at the control again. You also have randomization. So say on the offset, we can randomize the offset. We can randomize the size. And the density. And also the tuning. I'd like to say hello to everybody who's here in the chat. Let's take that off. So I'd just like to say hi, L-Waves. Hi, Jason. I just replied to your email as well, by the way, mate. Cheers. Gios, Colin, Gary, Dan, Jamie, Stephen, Dave, Lady Aptitude. Who else? Colin. I think I've maybe covered everyone who's here. Anyway. So these are your basic controls. Now, stereo spread is really cool. So listen to this if you're wearing headphones. How do I get the sound to start? Well, you just load it in. Oh, and just press a key. Sorry, you can't see my keyboard, can you? But yeah, you press a key. Okay, so, and then we have, let's take stereo spread down a little bit. Then we have a reverb, which is controlled in the global section here. We have delay and reverb. We also have a global filter. We have FM mode, and then we have basically the play modes as well. So yeah, you just press a key. Yeah, there you go, latch. So there's that. Let me just get back to my control. So yeah, reverb, which is very, very, very good, by the way. So let go of the key. And then delay. All right, so let's load in a different sound. So we've got this sound in number one. Let's just switch it off. And now let's listen to number two and work out why I'm not actually hearing this, which is strange. There's a stupid reason for this as well, so I don't know what it is. Hang on. So what have I done? I've turned off number one. Number two is still on. Level is up. Gain is set. Not sure why I'm not hearing. Not sure why I'm not hearing that. I must be doing something wrong here. That's weird. I should definitely be hearing that. Yeah, the volume's up. The level, the volume. Oh, yeah, no, it's up. It's right. It's fine. The level is up. In fact, that's why. The other one was soloed. So there we go. So now we can combine both. So now we have a mixture of both sounds. And it's part of the same sample, but we chopped this one. Now, this is really cool. In engine number 3, let's switch off number 1 and switch off number 2 and go to number 3 and change it from grain to oscillator. So each engine can either be a sample, a granular engine, or an oscillator. So now we've got a synth and we have different waveforms. Let's just turn the volume down a little bit. Let's change to a sawtooth and let's make kind of a trumpety kind of sound. So let's use the envelope here. Let's put some reverb on that. And a little bit of delay. And it's poly. Very nice. So now what we've got is we've got 3 sounds, but I've turned the other 2 off, right? But let's just have a quick look at the envelope here. Well, actually the envelope for that sound is really nice. Maybe we could adjust the attack a little bit of the filter envelope and also the amp envelope. That's nice. So if we go into the matrix now, the matrix is independent of layer. Okay, so for instance, we're just going to be playing around. We have 4 LFOs. Okay, so if you looked at the modifiers here, I have LFO 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to stick with LFO 1, which is at the moment is on a sine wave. And what we're going to do is we're going to apply we'll get some pitch modulation going with this sine wave. So we'll go back to the matrix and we'll look at LFO1 and we can go along here and go, oh, look, here's pitch. So let's hold the note and adjust the pitch here. Let's go back to the modifier, envelope 1. Let's turn the rate up. And what's cool about frames is LFOs is they all have a delay out, and they also have an offset as well. So we're going to use the delay. Let's just go back to control and turn the level down a little bit. So now we've got a nice delayed LFO coming in, but we could go into our modifiers and maybe decrease the delay a bit. And then we have all these different wave shapes for the LFO. But I think that, and you have 4 LFOs by the way. But you also have a global arpeggiator as well. Let's turn it off for a moment. Now we've got our synth sound. Let's go back and turn on our layer 1. Now we've got a blend of our synth and our first sample, and now let's turn this on. That sounds a bit weird, so let's go back to number 1 layer, switch that off, go to number 2. There's the solo. What we're going to do is tune it to our synth so it's in tune. So this is really cool as well. So let's unsolo this and we can hear it's off. Let's just quickly go to our number 3 sound and go to our modifier here, and just for a moment, actually we'll go to the matrix, and just for a moment we'll just reset the vibrato on the LFO. Go to control. Now we know this is C. So we'll go back to this and we can tune it from here. Let's switch back on layer 1 now. So now we've got a sound made of 2 samples and a synthesized sound, and we've still got a layer left, and we haven't applied any modulation at all to the samples. So let's solo this one and let's see what happens. Let's modulate this. So we're looking at the offset. So we'll go to our matrix here, and don't forget it's going to be the matrix for this layer. And we'll go and find offset here, and we can start to adjust it for, and we'll use LFO2. Okay, so I only need to go to touch on it here and it'll select LFO2. So this is LFO2. Let's have a look at LFO2, shall we? Modifiers, LFO2. Is this kind of random thing? Let's have that set as a triangle. We can sync it to the BPM. Choose the rate. I'm going to adjust the window. And we could, that doesn't really matter, that's absolutely fine. So play polyphonically. And again, that's just one sound, so we can go to our, we can take solo off. nice. And then if you're happy with the sound, of course, you can then just hit this little icon here, and we'll just rename this to, I don't know, video test 1, and then just go save as, and it's going to save it. Excuse me. So I saved it down there. There's one I call Vincent Price. Okay. So let's make another one, shall we? Again, we'll go to factory. We'll just go to default. Go back here. And on this one, what I'll do is I'm going to record in from my microphone and have a mess around with that. So recording in from here. So all you need to do is hit record 1, 2, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 5, 1. And there's the sample. And don't forget, it's going to be related to how this is working. So so that's not going to be in tune. So choose, we can also, let's select that little area then. Let's just crop it. So now, yes, we've got even tighter in there from where it's been set previously. So let's tune that. So let's go to our second engine. Let's switch it on, and let's change the engine type to oscillator. Go back here and tune the sample. Not a million miles off, that's fine. Let's switch that one off. So let's switch this synth engine off. Awesome stuff. The stereo spread is absolutely fabulous. So now I've got a really, and this is just got, I've just got one layer. So there's a really cool sinister sound. Now what we can do is either import another sample for number 2 or number 3. Let's go change it from the oscillator engine to the grain engine. We can either or copy and paste. Now here's the thing. You can copy and paste just the sample, right? So this, but you can copy and paste the entire layer. So if I wanted all the sections to be exactly the same, everything that I'd done, I would just go copy here, go to layer 2 and go paste. Paste that, and I don't know why my waveform hasn't shown up. It's just maybe I'm wrong on that one. I don't know. Maybe it just hasn't copied the waveform. It's copied everything else. Interesting. Anyway, doesn't matter. What we do is for this one anyway, I'll copy the waveform. So you can copy this state. Maybe it doesn't copy the waveform, but you can copy state. Thanks, Dave. Bless you. Thank you very much. But let's just go with copy this now and go to paste in. Oh, that's cool. So what I want to show you as well is that you can have these, like I said, at the moment, because this little padlock icon is locked. You see, I've unlocked them both now, or locked them both. That means that each time I change layer, it changes to suit both layers. It's the same synth layer sort of thing I'm working on. So number 4, it's number 3. If I wanted to make adjustments to say number 2, but look at number 1, for whatever reason you might want to do that, and there probably is some good reasons, what you do is hit the little padlock icon here. And now when I change either or layer, this one will stay locked the same. So now I'm looking at the controls for layer 2, but I'm seeing the waveform for layer 1. Thanks, Jason. Bless you, mate. See? So you can go and look at all these different engines, but stay locked into one on either or level, unless you want to lock them back up again, and now you're going to change both at the same time. So that's another cool thing you can do. Okay, so let's look at something like FM. Let's just go with, I'm not going to save that patch, I'm just going to go with it, load the default patching. So factory load. I don't know. Right, a minute. Oh, it's because I've just modified it. That's all. I'm just going to change this. I'm just going to save this as let's see. I'll just call it Doom. It sounds very doomish to me. Save as Doom. Right. Now go to our factory and default, and now I'm back to nothing. So FM is really cool inside of frames. Let's load in a sample. So also as well, you can go and edit samples and make sure they're only 4 meg or less, and that's really easy. But look, we've got default. Let's choose a sample to import. Let's import something here. Let's go with so I've got some, but these will all be, here's the thing, all these ones from Jason's soundtrack loops, the ones that we took a look at, all these are going to be bigger than 4 meg. So if I looked at sound effects, looks at 46 meg. Let's do something really cool. Okay, so let me show you what you can do. This is really nice. Let's go into audio share. Let's go to this and let's go with something like frightening sounds. Okay, so we'll look at one shots. Okay, so for instance, this one is creaky fence. Creaky fence would actually work because that is actually less than 4 meg. But if we wanted to do this one, let's see this one. All we need to do inside of audio share, of course, is just edit that. So if we go with tools, trim and fade, let's just boink, take a selection like this, and we'll go okay, save, and it'll give us a trimmed version here. And the trimmed version is 4. Look at that, 4.8. I'm going to have to trim it again. So tools, trim and fade, and I'm going to trim it some more like this. Just go save. And let's see, this is 2.4. Right, so we know, I'm just going to rename this just so I can find it really quick when I come back in. So I'm going to call this zombie trimmed. Okay, so now we've got zombie trimmed. It's 2.4 meg. Right, cool beans. Let's go back to here. Let's go import. I'm going to go back here. And I know that I put it in soundtrack loops, and I know that it's in frightening sounds. Is this frightening sounds? One of them is. Is this it? Yeah, frightening sounds. And I know it's in one shots, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be down the bottom somewhere. Zombie trimmed. There it is. We're going to open this, and it will appear there. Zombie trimmed. I'm just going to go import. Sorry, and I can actually. I'm going to load that in. It's up. It's just auditioning it, that's all. That was what that was doing. Right, so there we go. We've got that now, and let's go back here. Oops, sorry. And there it is. And there's our zombie trim sample, which is less than 4 meg. But since we're using granular synthesis, it doesn't matter, you see. Let's go to absolute. Sounds like a door opening, it's cool. So that's cool, right? So what we're going to do now is we're going to, first thing we were going to do is we're going to go to number 2, and we're going to change from the granular engine, which is default, to a sine wave. And that's all right as well. Then we're going to go to global. We're going to switch on the FM engine, okay? Then we're going to go back to number 1 and go to control. Sorry, go to number 2, and you see where it says FM now? We can turn the level of this down. Now we're frequency modulating oscillator 1, layer 1 if you like, with layer 2's sine wave. Although you can't hear the sine wave because I've turned the level down, but we could hear it. And then, if we want to, let's turn the level down of that. Let's turn the FM amount up quite high. And let's go into the global, and we can change the FM mode. And then you can find an FM algorithm that you kind of like, sort of thing. That's quite nice. Now, let's do something really cool. So we've got some FM, with some FM applied to this now. Some stereo spread. We'll change the size window to to absolute. let's modulate this with one of our LFOs. So we'll go to matrix. Well, we're not using any of the LFOs at the moment, so the size is the thing we want to be. The size is the thing we want to be modulating. So let's go to our matrix. Excuse me. We'll use LFO1. So we'll look for size here. Here it is. But we can also modulate the pan with the same LFO or a different LFO. It's up to you. And we can modulate the cutoff as well with maybe LFO2. If we go back to our control, and we've got basically one engine. And you can tune it the same way now. We could go back to number 1 and that sounds quite spooky, doesn't it? And on you go. Bringing in sounds, copy pasting them, and like I said, for instance, with this one we could go, well, okay, that's really nice, but I like it the way it is there, but I'd like that sample again, and make life really easy for yourself. Just copy, go over to something you're not using and paste it in. So same sample, different settings. And you hear that slight fade in if I solo this. That's your window size. And we can reverse the direction as well, so the grains will go backwards. Awesome. Let's put some stereo spread on this. Let's solo this. This is the deep dark one. Let's put some stereo spread into this. And amplitude spread as well is quite nice. We can randomize some of these from directly in here, so and then unsolo it. Well, that sounds really great, so I'm going to call this the horror. Flipping heck. The horror. Oh, the horror. The horror. So, and then just go save. Point. And there you go, guys. I'm not going to go any further because you basically, I've showed you how to do everything. It's all pretty straightforward stuff. We've had a look at the envelope section. We've had a look at the matrix. We've had a look at the modifiers. This is your LFO and your ARP. Like I said, the ARP is global. I wouldn't use the ARP very much in frames. It does sound even creepy, doesn't it? And this is, like I said, this is them samples from frightening sounds, some zombie sounds. So this is why I think Frames is just absolutely brilliant. It's brilliant because it's also a synthesizer. So you've got like 4 synths, or you could have, like we did, we got 2 samples, 2 synths. Synth is super handy for tuning your stuff. We've also got in our global, we have glide, so this is going to sound very cool when it drops back down. Thanks, Dave. But you can also do like just, I'm going to just resave this as again, save, yes, override that. But like I said, you're not just like, I made this dusty EP sound. And I programmed the EP. If we have a look at the patch, you see I have it, let's go back to control mode. I have a square wave here, and I think I have another, I don't have anything in this one, so. Oh yeah, I do, another square wave. So I programmed the piano sound. For like an EP type thing. And then I imported one of Electronic Sound's vinyl samples. And we can see that here, if we solo it. So that's basically just a vinyl scratch. Hello, soundtrack loops. So there's this, and then when we bring back in the second one here, there's nothing in. Number 3, that's another square wave, and number 4 again was another one, slightly adjusted to detune to get the here. The like chorus effect. So the full patch together was like. And I set the envelope for the noise to be like fast attack and slow release. So you're not kind of, it's not too abrupt when you stop playing. So playing with gaps in between the music, you're still gonna get that the vinyl noise. Whereas if I had the release all the way down for the vinyl noise, it wouldn't sound natural. It was right off. Much better with a long release. Awesome stuff, guys. Thanks very much for joining me this evening, where we took a look at how to program Frames, what it can do, all the cool stuff it does. It's really, really great. like I said, if you just want to go 4 sample layers, you can. Cool things like doing this. There's another one is a dust synth. Guitars from Mars, which I'm not sure isn't playing unless I actually no. Don't know why my Guitars from Mars isn't playing. Another one I did. The Vincent Price one, of course, from Daniels. Horror. There you go, guys. Thanks very much. I'm gonna go. I'll just play for a couple of secs, and I'll see you all hopefully tomorrow. Bless you all. Ta-ra. Section.